Bridget Young from Baby Formula Expert here, and we are, of course, going to be talking about the formula shortage that we are suffering through in the United States. So, I'm going to try to get right to the point, but I want to give everybody some hope first. So, we know the formula shortage has been going on for several months, particularly since February. We've been suffering from supply chain issues because of the pandemic for years now, but the Abbott recall, which included a lot of Similac formulas in February, dramatically made the problem worse. The good news is that was February. We're now in May. Where is the time going? But that's good news. I know everyone who can is working really hard on this problem. All the formula companies, all the formula manufacturers, they're actually working together. The FDA is involved. I mean, it's a horrible situation, but the good in people is coming out, and they are really trying to solve the problem. While that's happening, I'm going to really break down how to find the perfect, I say that in quotes, substitute for your formula if you cannot find the formula that your baby is used to consuming. I have my notes here so I don't forget anything. So let's dive right in. I'm going to specifically talk about elemental or amino acid formulas and hypoallergenic formulas at the end because that's the fewest parents. So if that's you, stay tuned. I will have some tips. All right. If you cannot find your formula, for the vast majority of parents, don't panic. There is absolutely a substitute brand formula that your baby is probably going to do fantastic on. So I'm going to tell you how to find it right now. What you have to do is make your decision on a new formula based on the list of ingredients. If you know me, that was not going to surprise you. So things on the front of the can: gentle, sensitive, easy to digest, tiny tummies, ignore it. Those aren't regulated terms. So what one brand calls gentle, another brand may call sensitive. It can be very confusing. So ignore those and look on the back of the can. I'm going to do a tiny bit of teaching right now about protein to give you the most important things to know. Formula protein actually comes in different sizes. So we know there's soy and there's dairy. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about like the molecular size of the molecules of protein that your baby is eating. The majority of standard formulas, regular formulas, are big size. The size the proteins are as they came out of the udder. Nothing is done to them, and they're actually really big. They're bigger than breast milk proteins. That's what most babies are eating. They're doing fine. This is how you know your baby's eating one of those big proteins. You will see the word milk somewhere on the label. Non-fat milk, milk protein isolate, just cow's milk. So then you know, okay, they're having a large size protein. So then you want to prioritize matching the protein first. The first ingredient you want to match, because that's the most likely ingredient to cause a formula tolerance issue in a baby, like by far. So if we can even just match the protein, chances are your baby's going to transition really well with no problems. So if you see the word milk on there, just find another formula with the word milk, and the more ingredients you can match, absolutely the better. But even if you can just match the protein, so see milk and maybe you see whey, find a formula that says milk and whey. Okay, that's the big proteins. The next category is proteins that are chopped up a little bit. The medical term for this is partially hydrolyzed. Hydrolyzed means chopped up or digested. So partially digested. So take your formula can now, flip it over. Do you see the words partially hydrolyzed? Cool. You're feeding a partially chopped up formula. You need to find another formula that has those words partially hydrolyzed in the label. So you know you're feeding your baby a similar size protein. They have all their enzymes. That's what they're used to seeing. They're probably going to transition to that new one really, really well. There's actually still a lot of partially hydrolyzed proteins. Here are your examples. Let me see. Similac Total Comfort, Enfamil Gentlease, Enfamil Reguline or Reguline, Gerber Soothe, Gerber Comfort, and Burt's Bees Ultra Gentle, and then all your generics that are either tender or total comfort. So it's actually a lot. Really, any of those in that category during this period of maybe not being able to find yours is probably going to be perfectly fine for your baby. So after the partially hydrolyzed category, we shrink the proteins down even smaller, and those are your hypoallergenic formulas. These you do have less options. And if your baby has a cow's milk allergy, they truly need a hypoallergenic formula. You only have 4 options, but you can get at least one of them right now. So we're not in panic mode. Everybody take a deep breath. We're going to get through this. This is your Nutramigen, Alimentum, either ready to feed or powder, Gerber HA, which stands for hypoallergenic, or store brand. So there's a Walmart, Target, Walgreens, Kroger. They all make a hypoallergenic formula. It's a generic of Nutramigen, but if you are on Alimentum and you can't find it anywhere, you can absolutely get the store brand hypoallergenic formula, and it's perfectly safe and fine for your baby who has a cow's milk allergy. So that's what I wanted to say about proteins. Prioritize the proteins first. Now, if you have the luxury of prioritizing the next best ingredient, it's going to be the carbohydrate. So say you have your formula, like, okay, I have milk in mine, so I found a bunch of different options of formulas that have milk, and so which one do I choose? Okay, so the next things you want to prioritize is the carbohydrate. And this is really just simple. Is your carbohydrate all lactose, like breast milk, or does it have some other things in it? We'll just keep it really simple. Other things might be corn syrup solids, maltodextrin, brown rice syrup, really anything else besides lactose. So if you see your formula has anything else in it besides lactose, you know, okay, this is lactose reduced. It's got other stuff in it. The great news is you can either find a formula that's also lactose reduced, or you can lactose reduce it yourself. So for best case, you say find the generic of, let's use Similac Sensitive as an example. That is a lactose reduced formula, really lactose reduced. You can't find it anywhere. Say you can't even find the generic. Well, guess what? Talk to your doctor about this first, but you can buy lactase drops. Lactase is the enzyme that digests lactose. So they sell lactase drops for infant formula that you can add to your formula ahead of time. So maybe you make your bottle up, you add the drops, put it in the fridge, because you have to keep it in the fridge before you feed it, and the lactase will go about its business chopping up all the lactose into its galactose and glucose parts, and bam, you have a lactose reduced formula. So say you cannot find your Similac Sensitive anywhere, fine. Get a formula that's 100% lactose if that's what you can find. Get the lactase drops. Call your doctor. Of course, I should have said at the beginning, always talk with your doctor about anything that you're doing, especially if you're going to be doing a supplement or something like this. But it's an option that will allow you to get over this hump until the formula, your normal lactose reduced formula, becomes available. There's lots of different brands. There's one, I have no affiliation with these brands. I just know one off the top of my head is CoLeaf, because it specifically has instructions for infants. It's for infants. So we'll give a dosing for like 2 to 4 ounce bottle. So that's nice. Okay, so the carbohydrate, match it if you can. If not, you can always use drops to bring the lactose down without affecting the calories. So that's really a nice hack that might get you over this hump. The next thing in formula, the next biggest thing in formula is fat. I'm going to say, girl, don't even worry about it right now. Like, we just need to find a formula that's going to keep your baby comfortable until your formula is available again. The fat is not going to bother them. I mean, some people want to avoid palm oil or avoid soy oil or those things, which, if that's you, good for you. But in this short term, those things don't cause an intolerance. They don't cause an allergy. Like, your baby will be fine consuming them in this short term. It should not cause any discomfort for them. So I would say, don't let that panic you, because again, this is a temporary situation, so I don't even want you to worry about it. Prebiotics, probiotics, milk fat globulin membrane, lactoferrin, I don't care. I mean, I do care, but not right now. Not right now. I don't care. Do not worry about it. If you are previously feeding a really sexy formula with all this stuff in it and you can't find it, it is totally going to be okay for your baby not to have those sexy things right now. You just focus on finding them a substitute formula that has the same protein and the same carbohydrate, because that will keep them digestively in comfort and not waking up and crying with gas and those kinds of things. And that's what we need to just get us over this hump until the formula with all the sexy things you like is back available. I don't want you to worry about it, and it should not drive your choice of picking a substitute, whether or not those ingredients there, because there's such a tiny component of the formula. They don't really contribute to how comfortable the baby is going through the process of digestion. So don't worry about it. Isn't that great? One less thing to worry about. Okay, next tip. All store brand formulas are exactly the same. Let me explain. Now, I'm a huge fan of store brand generic formulas. So that should be the first place you look. So say you are feeding Enfamil Infant. You can't find it anywhere. Look at the generic brand of Enfamil Infant. I will give you a clue. They are almost exactly identical. So your baby should transition really fine. But they are made by different manufacturers. They're going to maybe have sourcing their ingredients differently. So it is a different formula, but the baby should transition really fine. If you're going from one store brand to another, they are 100% identical. They are made by the same company, in the same plant, probably on the same day. They just get a different sticker put on the outside of the can. So, for example, Target Advantage and Walmart Advantage, 100% the same. So, if you normally get your formula at Target and Advantage is out, get it at Walgreens or Walmart or Target. I forgot which one I said. Any of the other generic formulas will be totally identical. So you don't even have to worry. You're not actually changing their formula at all. This also allows you to shop sales. If there's ever a sale or a coupon or a gift card, you can use it to save money by shopping around the generic. Love that because, diapers ain't getting cheaper. I will tell you that much. Okay, next, here's another hack. If you can, that will potentially help a baby transition. So go slow during the transition again if you can, which I understand so many parents cannot. By go slow, I mean if you are down to, you have half a can left and you know you cannot find this formula anywhere, go ahead and purchase the substitute, the generic, or whatever substitute that you can get according to what I just went over. Purchase it now so that you can stretch the transition out over a couple days. So start day 1 with all the bottles being mostly your old formula and a little bit of the new formula in each bottle. Maybe day 2, half and half. Day 3, 3/4 of the new formula, 1/4 of the old formula. I think you get what I'm saying. So if you give it over a couple days, obviously that just makes it gentler on the baby because the baby has more time to adjust to the new ingredient. It's completely safe to switch formulas cold turkey. So you're not harming your baby. It's not dangerous. We're just trying to give them the absolute best chance to be as comfortable as possible. So if you have to feed your baby, if you have to go cold turkey, I'm here with you. I'm cheering you on. If you have the luxury of realizing, oh, I have to start this transition now, do it now, and then that will give you a couple days. Okay, this one may go without saying, but I've actually been really surprised. This does not occur to everybody. If you have breast milk available, please use it. So, very, very common scenario. Mom builds up a stash. Way to go, Mom. And so now she's using mostly formula, but she knows, oh, I've got enough to give 1 4-ounce bottle until baby's 12 months. And they're spacing their breast milk out that way. Totally fine. And now we're in a formula shortage. And so I would say, girl, use the breast milk that's in the freezer. Use it now because your formula will become available soon. We don't know exactly when. But just bump up the breast milk if you have it now. Great way. And then you may be able to get over the hump without having to change formulas. So use the breast milk if you have it available. Here's something else that may help you stretch your formula. If your baby is over 4 months and physiologically ready for solid foods, you can kind of do a solid food push. And by solid food push, I mean make a couple tweaks to the meals or snacks that you're offering to really get some nice calories in there. So and actually I recommend this all the time. I am a huge fan of really high fat feeding for babies. So this is not just for the formula shortage, but it is a good tip now anyway. So, for example, if you're doing purees, I love to suggest adding some really healthy fats into every little meal that you offer. So not only are babies used to a high fat diet, it gives them great calories, but it also enhances absorption of fat soluble vitamins, which need fat to be absorbed. So it's just like win, 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 win. So I have lots of videos about this if you want to look into it. Very briefly, some healthy fats that are really easy to get. Get yourself some coconut cream, some grass-fed butter, peanut butter, or any nut butter, avocados. So if you're offering a puree, take your green beans or whatever and throw a glob of coconut cream in there and stir it up. Your baby's going to love it because they are prone to love a high-fat diet. Breast milk and formula are high-fat foods. So they're probably going to like it better, and it's going to provide more calories, which will naturally mean over time they will drink a little less formula. Babies are really good at self-regulating. So we never want to dilute formula, but this is a way that you can offer them an alternative calorie source safely while still allowing them, if they don't decrease their formula intake, still follow their feeding cues. I know you guys know all of this. But it's a great time to do a little fat push if your baby is old enough and ready. Okay, I'm not just talking fast and throwing all this at you. So I wanted to end for all my huge hugs to all my families on hypoallergenic formulas. I know how stressful this has been, and like, God, could parents get just a month of a break? Just a little bit of a space to breathe through this pandemic. It's just like one thing after another. Okay, so if you're on a hypoallergenic formula, I'll talk about that first. So I already went through the brands, your only options for hypoallergenic formula. But like I said, right now, I even just did some checking. There is at least one hypoallergenic formula that is available. And this goes without saying, but if you're on a hypoallergenic formula or an amino acid formula, I'm sure you can close communication with your pediatrician. So you know that you've got a generic option for hypoallergenic formula. That availability will differ depending on where you are in the United States. But you have a lot of different stores you can check and call them and ask. Don't drive yourself crazy. So call and ask around. Next, I'm going to talk about things that you must speak with your doctor about first. Some babies are on a hypoallergenic formula very early in life because they need to be, because we're concerned that they may have an allergy. It's actually really hard to really confirm a sure diagnosis of allergy in a baby. So a lot of pediatricians early on will be like, okay, let's do a hypoallergenic formula, and then we'll try a more standard formula when they're 4-6 months old. So if you are in that gray range, talk to your pediatrician, and maybe your baby's 8 months old now. Talk to them and be like, hey, I can't find hypoallergenic formula. Should we do a trial? This has to be done under supervision of a doctor, but it's worth discussing if that was your baby, because actually, no, that's a lot of babies on hypoallergenic formula. We do this better safe than sorry kind of trial. So things to talk to your doctor about if they're on a hypoallergenic formula. If they're older and consuming solid foods, talk to your doctor, please. You could try, and then if their doctor's okay with it, you could try feed them a little dairy and see what happens. So obviously, if you know your baby has an allergy, don't do this. But if you're unsure and they're doing great and they're eating a bunch of solid foods and your doctor okays it, try feeding them a teaspoon of yogurt and see what happens. If they do great, they can probably then your doctor will discuss a plan with you for transitioning off of a hypoallergenic formula, likely onto a partially hydrolyzed formula, of which there are several currently available. The other really common thing that happens is a baby, I don't know how common, but anyway, this is a scenario that happens, I've seen a lot. A baby is breastfed and they develop issues that we trace back to the breast milk, but we can't figure out what it is in mom's diet that's really triggering. So the baby goes onto a hypoallergenic formula. They dramatically improve, but mom's got all this breast milk in the freezer. So again, really similar scenario. If it was that gray area and we're not sure if it's really an allergy or not, if you talk to your doctor about maybe this is a good time if your baby's really improved and they're old now, especially like 8-9 months, maybe it's a good time to try a bag of breast milk and see what happens, because if they are now able to tolerate it, you've got all this breast milk and how great not to throw it away. So that's another unique scenario that could be particularly relevant in this really horrible situation of a formula shortage. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. I think that was enough. If you have any other questions, leave it in the comments. I will really try to get to it. I'm going to be honest with you. I have like such a love-hate relationship with social media. At least on Instagram right now, I can see comments. If you have a formula you can't find, put it in the comments right now, and I'll give you examples of good options that would be alternatives. But I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be based on that protein category. So if you're feeding the full-size proteins, you've got a lot of options, and then you're going to have the luxury of picking what carbohydrate? Can you match the 100% carbohydrate, 100% lactose, or do you need a little bit of a lactose reduction? If you're in that partially hydrolyzed category, you've got a lot of options in the partially hydrolyzed category as well. I know that there are formulas available in each of these categories, so I know you will have a relatively comparable source available to you. That's where I want to end. I just personal opinion, I actually have, no real insight into when this will be over, but I really think it's going to be over soon. So really hang in there. Oh, somebody just asked, what's an example of partially hydrolyzed? Okay, girl, are you ready? Or daddy, I'm sorry, I can't tell. That was very rude of me. Here's your partially hydrolyzed. In the Similac, it's the Total Comfort line. Gerber, all their formulas are, well, actually that's not true, I'm sorry, they have a new one. Gerber Soothe or Gerber Gentle, partially hydrolyzed. Enfamil Gentilese or Enfamil Reguline. And then in your store brand formulas, it's the Tender line. So any store will be called Tender or Comfort. Tender or Comfort are both going to be partially hydrolyzed generic options. So really any of those, again, in this short term, should be fine. And all of those are also lactose reduced, all of them. So you kind of have your carbohydrate covered as well. Burt's Bees Ultra Gentle, so Burt's Bees has a couple. Burt's Bees Ultra Gentle is also partially hydrolyzed, but it's 100% lactose. So it's organic, which is nice, but if you get that one and you were on a lactose reduced, oh, it was a mama, good, thank you. Then you can use the lactase drops if your doctor's okay with it. Okay, Gerber Gentle Pro. Tender. The generic Tender is pretty identical to the Gerber Gentle Pro. So that would be any store brand at all. I mean, the major ingredients are, I believe, exactly identical. If you can't find, obviously Gerber Soothe is also going to be very similar to Gerber Gentle Pro, Gerber Soothe Pro. If you're having trouble finding Gentle Pro, you're probably having trouble finding Soothe Pro. So the next closest would be absolutely the store brand called Tender. And if you can't find that, the store brand called Comfort. Similac Pro Sensitive. I know I should have, this is, a lot of people are having this problem. Okay, good news. The protein source is a big protein source. So if your baby's doing well in Similac Pro Sensitive, they are their enzymes are on, they're rocking. It's great news for you. So Similac Pro Sensitive, if you can find Earth's Best Sensitive, it's basically an organic version. And it's pretty identical. The generic store brand Sensitive or Sensitivity, almost identical, really, really close. Either of those should be totally fine. Yeah. So I know you can have some of those. Similac 360. So I know you mean the Similac Total Comfort 360. They have the 360 on everything now, so, or an option on everything. So I'm gonna guess you mean the Similac Advantage 360. So for that one, girl, you got the world open to you. That is one of the most standard formulas, meaning it's a large protein, it's 100% lactose, so you have a lot of options with that. The generic, Enfamil Infant is really going to be pretty comparable, but I know Enfamil Infant's kind of hard to find right now. So the generic of Advantage or Infant, great. And in fact, the generic Advantage now has 2 FL, so it has just one of the prebiotics, where the total 360 has 5 prebiotics. But remember what I said, during this crisis, mama don't care about the prebiotics. I just want your baby to sleep through the night and you to not have a panic attack. So it's okay for them to go without the 5 probiotics till whatever time you can get the 360 again. But the generic Advance or Advantage is going to be almost identical and still even have one of those probiotics, and that includes Costco. The Costco formula is included in that group. So if you have a Costco membership, you're also going to save a boatload of money because it's that giant can. Okay. So maybe the question, is it common for premature babies to not tolerate breast milk, then tolerate it when they are older than 6 months? Oh, this is a totally unrelated question, so I'll be really quick. And I would, you know what I was going to say? I invite you to go put that question in my DMs. So I can keep it sort of focused here and not have my brain go. But yes, you have a lot of options available to you, mama. Don't give up on breastfeeding. If you have breast milk in your freezer, we'll find a way to use it. Do not worry. Okay. I still haven't cleaned up my kitchen from dinner, so I'm going to sign off. And again, I want to leave you on a positive note. I really think we're going to be out of the woods here soon, and I'm very, very confident that you can find a formula that your baby is going to transition to really well if you are in that circumstance. And if you are using an amino acid formula, work really closely with your doctor, but there's 4, and some are in stock. We are not going to have a situation where any baby is left starving. We will not let that happen. This is still America. We are still, if we can feed our most precious people. So if there's any other questions, throw them in a comment or throw them in my DMs, and I will do my darndest to get back to you. You guys are just warriors. I mean, parents of infants these days, it is quite a burden that's been handed to you, and you guys are fighting the good fight. And I am here with you. You are doing such a great job. Keep it up, and we'll be out of the woods soon. Okay, bye.